Angeles Athletic.
We're ready to start play. Victor Perez is serving to David Fink. 0 serving 0. Short. Second serve. That's a point.
Shot saying how I'm going to kill everybody. I quote that.
1 serve 0. Short serve. Second serve. That's a point. Two serve 0. It's a point.
Seems to be taking a lot off it when he's serving.
3 serve 0. It's a point. 1 serving 3.
Now Dave Fink gets 2 straight points.
2 serves 3.
2 serves 3. There's Vic going up to the roof. This is a long rally here, and that you would think would benefit Vic Perez until you find out that Dave Fink's been doing 3-a-day workouts back in Pittsburgh, preparing for this tournament. Score is 4-2. It's rally scoring, which means virtually there's a point scored on every single play. Those that don't end in a hinder call or a short, or some type of do-over.
That was an awkward play there by Fink.
You're listening to the voice of our sideline reporter, Ashley Moeller, sitting in to the booth here for this Dave Fink match.
3 serves 4.
In recent pro stops, Fink's had very good tournaments, finishing 5th in I believe the last 2 or 3 tournaments. He's very pumped up and knowing that he's playing at some of his best handball in a while.
Yeah, he finished 5th in Fresno and then followed that up in Salt Lake City with another 5th place showing, which is really good with the type of talent that we have on this Race for 8 tour.
It's a point.
Referee is Paul Godina, who's one of the co-tournament directors of this Los Angeles Athletic Club event. Our lead camera operator, Omar Lemus. Director, Linda Manning. The voices of yours truly, Dave Vincent, and Ashley Moeller here early Friday morning, downtown Los Angeles, historical Los Angeles Athletic Club.
5 serve 6.
Score is 5 serve 6 here with Vic Perez serving to David Fink.
Short. Second serve.
Nice kill there by Dave with his off right hand.
7 serves 5.
This is the men's round of 12. Vic Perez got here when he drew Dave Fink's name in a blind draw last night in a special ceremony held right here on this show court, which ended up being kind of awkward because we don't have back-to-back matchups at qualifiers. And after Dave Fink had Chip Morales pull the first name, which was Luis Cordova, he then went to Vic Perez, and Vic pulled Charlie Shank's name. And then Dave went to the next player, and then after they pulled the names, realized that Vic should not get Charlie Shanks in 2 tournaments, and they had to go put all the names back in and start over again. And so that's why there was a little bit of controversy and confusion out there in the court. Now the controversy came when Charlie Shanks said, I don't think it was fair that Vic had to re-pull the name. Charlie wanted to play Vic, and so there was a little bit of confusion and a lot of splaining to do.
Well, I know the last few qualifiers that didn't pull yet were fearing pulling Marcos Chavez. I think he's the...
And that's what happened. Charlie Shanks did pull Marcos Chavez.
9 serves 7.
Score is 9-7 here. Almost a good get from Vic Perez there on that last rally.
It's a point.
Dave Fink with...
First time out, Victor. The score is 10 serving 7.
Dave Fink with 10. 7 going to Victor Perez. You're watching the WPH Simple Green Race for 8. We are live here in Los Angeles. Woke up this morning to hear the sound of birds coughing. So I knew I was in Los Angeles. The town flasher said it was a little cold this morning, so he decided to use finger puppets. I don't know if you think Southern California is going to be a warm place, but then you come here and find out it's not necessarily warm like everyone says.
Well, Eric Hilgren was saying he traveled all the way from Missouri, and they're having a heat wave there, and it's 80 degrees in Missouri, and it's only a high of 60 degrees here in Los Angeles. So his spring break, he actually traveled to a colder place.
That's about normal for Eric Hilgren.
The score is 10 serving
But nonetheless, timeout back in, 10-7. We have some new rules here on the show court. If a ball goes out into the gallery, it's an automatic side out or a point, depending on what position the player is in.
Yeah, which you can't see on the camera, but that front wall only comes up about 15 feet, would you say?
I would say it's probably the lowest we've seen this year. And then if you look at the sidewall, you can see on the far right upper portion of this camera, you can see that's how low the back wall is as well. It's just this perspective we're looking at. So now if the ball goes off the side of the court, out that little door on the right, it's a do-over. But if it goes over the back wall, it's a side out. And they play all bad bounces here to include the serve. That means that if it hits a crack or makes a funny bounce off one of those partitions on the back glass, for example, or a doorknob, then you just have to play it. That gets the referee interaction with players subsided.
Well, and if you think about baseball, if a ground ball comes to you and it hits a divot in the dirt, I mean, you're not going to play it over just because it hopped at your throat or wherever it takes off to.
It's a point. Serves 8.
We have Dave Fink serving 12 to Vic Perez, who has 8 points, and this rally scoring to 25. Round of 16, first round game.
The winner of this one will face Nate Alvarado Jr. at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Vic Perez's family here watching and supporting. Dave Fink's back home on the live broadcast, tuned in.
13 serves 8.
To include his father Rodney and his wife Trisha. And little baby Henry. Trying to watch. He's not watching, he's kicking.
He's listening.
14 serves 8. It's a point. 9 serves 14.
We have Vic Perez serving 9 of Dave Fink, who has 14 points.
Serve. There's no appeal. Second serve.
I tried to appeal it, but there's no line judges in this early match this morning.
I think that's why we heard Dave Fink say there's no appeal.
It's a point. 10 serves, 14.
Now you're starting to see a little run here from Vic Perez. He's a very smart player, Ashley.
It's a point.
He had a really good showing in Salt Lake City,
10.
where he came in as a qualifier that defeated the #1 seed, and then he had to go through the #5 ranked player, which was Charlie Shanks, and he defeated him. But then he had to play #4, which was Alan Garner, and he was just a point away from
16 serves,
taking
10.
him down, forcing a tiebreaker.
When I spoke to him in Salt Lake City, he wasn't sure if he was going to be actually playing here because he had other obligations, but I'm very happy to see that he did play and in fact qualified to get himself, nice shot
It's a
there,
point.
get himself into the pro tournament here on Friday. Because this is his home court, and it would be a shame for him not to be able to
16.
play at his most comfortable level in his own home club.
Even though this is his home club, he has been working very hard at trying to get into this facility. You know, getting into like the Olympic Club in San Francisco or the Multnomah Athletic Club in Portland, Los Angeles Athletic Club, the NYAC in New York. Very difficult thing to do. You have to get on a waiting
12
list.
serves,
There's a big
16.
initiation fee. Well, they're working on getting him into this club full time as one of the sponsored players. And if that happens, you're going to see his game even elevate more. Play with the likes of
It's a point.
Marco Chavez and Vince Munoz and Armando Ortiz when he's
13
healthy.
serves, 16.
Meanwhile, he's catching up to Dave Fink. And there's the side out, 17-13.
Seventeen serves, 13. It's a point.
Just a skip into the ground there.
18 serves, 13.
Fink serving 18-13 and rally scoring to 25.
It's a point. 14 serves, 18.
Another missed setup there for Vic Perez.
19 serves, 14.
I like the serve by Dave Fink going with the Z into the back left corner.
Dave playing some defensive ball here at this moment, waiting for the opportunity. He goes for it with the right hand and he misses it. And there's a point for Vic Perez.
15 serves, 19.
Now serving at 15-19. This is rally scoring best 2 out of 3 to 25. You have to win by 2.
Short.
Virtually every
Second serve.
rally ends with a point. Unless the ball's short or replayed.
Hold it. Let's play it again.
Good quick call from referee Paul Godina.
15 serving, 19.
Thought Dave walked in front of Vic on that shot. Vic went around him on a miss hit. I think if Vic would have hit Dave, it could have been an avoidable hinder.
20 serving, 15.
But that's a point for Fink, 20-15. I think Vic is showing Fink that he can hang with an elite player.
If he starts putting those balls down like he just did on that last play, it'll definitely help his chances to get back into this game here. He missed a lot of setups early on in this game.
It's a point. Second timeout, Victor.
Well, there's a timeout called here. You see the great Nadi Alvarado Sr. in the bottom right corner of your camera angle there. Nadi Alvarado coming from Hesperia, California. He is the official tournament director of this event, helping Simple Green with this stop here in Los Angeles at the historic Los Angeles Athletic Club. This is the first tournament, or I should say the first facility that ever had a side glass wall and a back glass wall. And Jimmy Jacobs, of course, was the top player at the time, and he came in and won that national championship back in the mid-50s at this location. This was the premier handball facility, and we're at it right now, where Jimmy Jacobs and Vic Hershkowitz and some of those great players had those amazing playoffs and championships. Was sitting right in that spot where Art Linkletter was talking about the great Jimmy Jacobs, where the players would warm up and face the back wall so you could see their warm-up style as they were hitting the ball toward the back wall glass and toward the cameras. It was an amazing time for the Los Angeles Athletic Club. The first facility to ever have a swimming pool on a top floor above 12 stories in the world.
22, sir, 16.
According to Guinness Books. And their trophy room is lush with history. It must be an honor for these players to play on this show court. The very one that Jimmy and Vic used to play on.
17,
Paul
sir,
Haber.
22.
The great Fred Lewis. These players do not have 5-minute breaks. It's a 3-minute break between games.
Which they did vote on. Some people it seems too fast to get back on the court, but with all the pro tournaments,
17,
we have player meetings, and the players actually get to decide the rules that they want to play by.
Serves 22.
Nice pass down the right there for Fink.
Serves 18.
The score is 23 serving 18, with Dave Fink leading Vic Perez in the first game, getting possible game point coming up next.
Game point. Serving 18.
Dave Fink serving to take game number 1. That's a good serve right there, and Dave Fink gets the point. And there will be a 3-minute break. We're also going to take 3 minutes. We'll be back in just a bit for the WPH Simple Green Race for 8 as we are live in Los Angeles. More action right around the corner. Stick with us.
Resuming play. It's the beginning of the second game. David Fink serves to Victor Perez. 0-0.
This is the opening rally of game number 2, the WPH Simple Green Race 4-8. Nice dig right there from Vic Perez and a flat rollout from Dave Fink. Vic Perez will be fined $35 for not wearing his WPH gear here. That'll go for our Tahiti fund. I know, Ashley, you have not been invited to Tahiti yet, but the broadcast crew takes all of the money from the fines.
Is this my formal invite?
No, we're just, basically I'm just rubbing it in.
Nice guy. You know, I hate beaches anyway, so.
Well, I hate beaches. Oh, you said beaches. Oh, okay, never mind.
Fink finding that left corner again.
3-0.
Getting out to a 3-0 lead over Vic Perez. This is the second game with Dave Fink taking the first, 25-18.
It's his rally scoring best 2 out of 3 to 25. You have to win by 2. This has been a very clean match so far. Referee Paul Godina doing a good job keeping these players under control. Ashley.
I know he's a little concerned about reffing Dave Fink. He told him yesterday to play nice. I'd like to see Vic try to drive the ball deeper to keep Fink out of the front court, but he's keeping it in the front, which is allowing Dave Fink to just put the ball away.
Timeout. Victor, the score is 5, serving 0.
And a quick timeout called from Victor Perez. You can see Far West Meats, one of our big sponsors here for this tournament. Want to thank them for their patronage and support of Handball, home of the Hot Links, your neighborhood manufacturer. Proudly presenting the fine line of sausages and smoked meats, Far West Meats, online at farwestmeat.com. Of course, you could have just read that for yourself, Ashley, but I thought I would just reiterate it. Now, a lot of people back home will take the volume and turn it up and not necessarily watch the match until it gets close because they're at work and they can get in trouble. So not everyone's watching this image here, but want to say hello to those that are tuned into this live broadcast, watching Dave Fink and Vic Perez in this opening round. The WPH Race for 8 alongside Simple Green and Far West Meats and all the other sponsors that we have here.
I think, on the other hand, some people turn the volume down, actually, and just watch the scoreboard.
I was more or less subscribing to wishful thinking than anything else there.
It's a nice serve there. Good get by Vic. Fink jumping out to a 7-0 start here in the second game after taking the first game 25-18. Finding that left wall again.
8-0.
Was a miss hit from Vic that almost made it to the front wall and rolled out. Fink now at 9-0. I don't think Vic knows what hit him this morning. Dave Fink looks really focused early on here in this tournament, Ashley, and he seems very confident coming into this LAAC event.
Which he rightfully should be after a couple of really good tournaments in a row. But Vic also, he's had good tournaments himself.
That is frustrating after you're in charge of the rally to have a ball squelch on the sidewall like that. And there's the first point for Vic Perez. Vic tries to guide that ball into the front wall as opposed to hitting through it.
Yeah, he's not using much of his legs when he's swinging. He's trying to do most of it with his arms.
And there's another point now, 11-1 for Dave Fink.
I like that fish shot a little. Wrist flick there, keep it down the wall.
Two serves 11.
Vic Perez serving 2, serving 11 to Dave Fink here in the second game.
Sideline reporter Ashley Moeller actually in the booth, making a rare booth appearance today. That's the voice that you hear. She's Dave Fink's fill-in. We try to keep our announcers always working since you're on the clock.
12 serves 2.
24/7.
We figured that instead of paying somebody, because this is a highly paid position, as you know, Ashley, we would, since we have you, we might as well use you instead of having you courtside talking to the players between timeouts. We'll have you in here instead.
3 serves 12.
You're like Aaron Andrews, except
Short.
your hair is a little darker.
Second serve.
I wouldn't quite agree with that, but. And Vic found the right corner there, trying to get himself a little momentum to gather some points against Fink.
4 serves 12.
Scores 4, serves 12.
Match after this one will pin Chip Morales versus Luis Cordoba. It's going to be a heated battle.
We have a lot of new matchups that we haven't seen on the tour with the qualifiers coming in.
Well, 11 o'clock, it is
serves
Chip and Luis. Now, we haven't necessarily seen that much this year. Cordoba has never lost to Chip Morales. So that's kind of an interesting matchup for Chip, who actually said that he felt comfortable pulling Luis Cordoba's name. We haven't seen Vic play Dave Fink yet this year, the current match you're watching. And then Marco Chavez versus Charlie Shanks is going to be a lot of fun at 1 o'clock this afternoon. This place will be packed with players. At 12 o'clock, Emmett Pachot and Andy Nett. Very interesting matchup. Both are get artists. Both hit the ball hard. Emmett Pachot has not the ranking that Andy has right now, but Andy's been falling and Emmett's been jumping like a bullet. In fact, if Emmett defeats Andy Nett later today, and Andy Nett were to lose his next match and Emmett were to make it to the semis, Emmett could get invited to Seattle and Andy could be bounced out of the race standings. So it's a lot of implications here on that match. That's why you're going to see all of Andy Nett's family and friends watching as Dave Fink makes a terrible hand air right there. And another point for Vic Perez.
6 serves 14.
I know that Luis Cordova has been here since 7 a.m. this morning, warming up and getting prepared for his match. Using all variety types of warm-ups.
First time out. Dave Fink, second game.
Referee awarding that timeout to Dave Fink, who is up pretty big right here. You're watching the WPH Simple Green Race for 8. We're in beautiful Los Angeles, California, as we prepare for the Players' Championship, which will take place in Seattle, Washington on the 18th of May, as well as the 19th. That'll be a Friday, Saturday tournament only, as the top players in the race standings will be invited to play in a special upper bracket and lower bracket round robin tournament. And then the player will be, the champion will actually be named the player champion for this Race for 8 season. WPH Simple Green Race for 8 Los Angeles Athletic Club. Pro Handball Stop qualifier is here right now. WPH qualifier brings the deepest draw of the year as the last stop on the tour will highlight who will be named the Elite 8 for that Players' Championship May 18th and 19th. If you're planning on going to the Washington Athletic Club, then I'll give you the name and number a little later on for tickets, and they're already selling.
Now, Dave, for the viewers that may not know how the Race for 8 functions, is the winner of the race going to be the winner of the Players' Championship, or is it combined with the race standings from the year?
Yeah, that's interesting. A lot of people saying that. There's 2 awards. The first award is the winner of the Seattle event, just like it's a pro stop. So let's say Sean Linning wins the Seattle event in his former home club, okay, he is going to win a check for being the winner of that tournament. And then after that event is over, we go back and we look at all of the rankings, and then we could crown the winner based on the actual rank standing. So there's two things going on there: the winner of the actual tournament, and then the race standings winner. So Sean Linney, let's say if he went, let's say that Charlie Shanks wins in Seattle, and he might not get enough points to overcome, you know, Luis Moreno, and Luis Moreno could still be crowned the race champion. You see that in NASCAR where Jimmy Johnson is the race leader. He loses the final race, but he still has enough points to win the race championship, or the Sprint Nextel race, or you know, whatever, the FedEx Cup or whatever they call it. But that's really essentially what could happen. Luis Moreno, the race leader, could lose in Seattle but still win the race. But the significance of actually having that Seattle event is there's double ranking points. So if a guy like Nadi Alvarado Jr. is within 6 points of Luis Moreno's race record, he could get enough points at 6.5 to overtake him and win the actual race championship. Those type of scenarios will all be drawn out. A nice shot right there from Vic Perez. Here it is, game number 2 after Dave Fink won the first one, 21-18. 25-18.
12 serves, 15.
Fink jumped out to a huge lead at the beginning of this game. I believe he was up 9-0 at one point, and now Vic's chipping away. He's coming back 12-15 right now after losing the first game, 25-18.
Dave Fink was up on Vic Perez by the score of 9-1 earlier here in the second game.
16 serves, 12.
Now Vic within 4 points, 16-12. This can be a big setup. I believe that Vic's starting to settle in just a little bit.
Nice kill
Wow,
there.
look at that laser from Vic Perez. And he gets a side out and the point.
13 serves, 16.
Within 3 now, 13-16. This is becoming exciting, Ashley Moeller. My explanation of the race in Seattle, all of a sudden Vic has 10 points. What happened? I think Vic's family wants me to talk about that more often. And a beautiful kill shot left corner from Dave Fink.
Fink's definitely got that shot dialed in today. We've seen multiple kill shots in that left corner.
Well, Vic looked really rusty early on, and Dave was hot. And then Vic looked unstoppable there in the middle. 18-13. Now Dave Fink is starting to pick up the action. And another point for Dave Fink, and Vic Perez calling a timeout. You're watching the WPH Simple Green race for 8. The qualifier here, yeah, it has a deep draw. Some might say that the Jake Plummer event might have been deeper, but this is pretty darn close. Player Championship is scheduled for May 18th and 19th of 2012. The reason why we're talking about the qualifier is we had Marco Chavez get in, and Emmett Pachot, Vic Perez, Chip Morales. They can really do some disruptive stuff there for the Players' Championship, which will be held May 18th and 19th at the Washington Athletic Club in Seattle, Washington. Joel Carlson is the main contact if you'd like to purchase tickets and inquire about the special WAC hotel room rates. Joel Carlson at 206, this is his cell phone, 660-9878, 206. 660-9878. You could also email him at JOEL, that's joel.carlson at yahoo.com, joel.carlson at yahoo.com to inquire about your tickets. I disagree with Dave Fink on this.
No.
That ball actually cracked
There was
out.
no hinder there.
If we could see a replay there, we could tell you what Dave Fink was seeing. Now, we're looking from a strange angle, so everything from this angle should look like a hinder.
There was no hinder there.
Referee Paul Galdina is staying very strong with his call there, which I like that, a referee.
Score is 14-19. I agree with you. Ball sounded like it broke. There's some strange boards here in the front wall. This is an old club.
Yeah, watching yesterday, it seemed like every other shot they hit sounded like it broke in half, but it was perfectly fine.
These are not concrete walls like most would assume in a club like this.
Short. Second serve.
Dave Fink was up at one point 12-1. And now Vic Perez has 16 and Dave Fink has 19 before that last point for Dave Fink.
20 serve 16.
We have Dave Fink in the green shirt and Vic Perez in the orange.
Perez on a 15-9 run at the moment. And a point for Vic Perez, bringing it to 17-20. This has become closer now after that 12-1 start from Dave Fink, and then a timeout called from Vic Perez, and then since then it's been all Vic Perez. That was a terrible miss right there. He wanted to go around that revolving door, back down that left wall, but he shanked it. I believe it's a smart serve from Dave because Vic likes to take that ball right back down that left, and that's to Dave's strong hand. Vic is going to have to push that to the right, Ashley. I don't know what your thoughts are, but he's trying to force it down that left wall, and Dave's left-handed. I think Dave is just camping, waiting for it, and another point for Dave Fink.
Well, I know for myself, it's very difficult for me to hit that revolving door shot down the left and hit a good shot that way. It's more comfortable just to drive it into that right corner.
Now both of these players just kind of paddling the ball up there. There's a first mistake made on the court. Dave Fink goes for the kill shot, doesn't get it. Now back to the middle. Now resetting the action just a bit as Dave Fink throwing that ball back up to a wrap around. And then Vic closes it out with a kill shot up front, and a timeout called from Dave Fink after Vic gets a point, now bringing it 17-23. You're watching the WPH Simple Green Race for 8 to the Los Angeles Athletic Club. Earlier, we're talking about the Players' Championship in Seattle, Washington. The Los Angeles Athletic Club is the last of a series of stops. This is stop number 7. Essentially, Ashley, the previous 6 stops have all been qualifiers to include this one. So all 7 of these are qualifiers, basically, to see who will have enough points to go to the Players' Championship. The Los Angeles Athletic Club, along with the World Players of Handball, Simple Green, Nadia Alvarado, and family, host the special qualifier and top 12 race stop with live broadcast that began on Thursday and will end Saturday night with the Saturday Night Live Men's Pro Finals to determine who will be invited to the Players' Championship at WAC. WPH broadcast all of the qualifier finals, beginning with that upper bracket, and then the additional lower bracket. You saw them all last night. We had that special blind draw ceremony, and now kicking off the exclusive top 12. And
resume play. The score is 18 serves 23.
We're doing that with that Vic Perez Dave Fink match that you're currently watching now. Afterwards, it'll be Chip Morales and Luis Cordova, followed by Emmett Pichotte and Andy Nett, and then Marco Chavez and Charlie Shanks to close out the round of 16s today. Here it is, Dave Fink serving to win 25-18. Let's see if he gets his last point and moves up, or if Vic can get the side out.
Even if Vic gets a side out, very difficult to come back 18-24 because one mistake and the game is over.
That could be it right there, and it is. Dave Fink moves on to the next round as he takes down Vic Perez in 2 straight. We'll have Luis Cordova and Chip Morales coming up next in about 15 minutes. You stick around. For Ashley Moeller, Omar Lemus, and Linda Manny, my name is Dave Vincent. We'll have more action here at racefor8.com right around the corner.
I'm good. Jared?
My name is Bruce Fabrizio. In 1975, I invented Simple Green based on 3 principles. It had to be safer to use, it had to work, and it had to be completely made in America. From generation to generation, Simple Green has been cleaning everything from car engines and tools to kitchen counters and floors. No matter what you clean, indoors or outdoors, clean it with non-toxic, biodegradable Simple Green.
For 20 years, the Inner City Handball Association has educated, mentored, and served young people through handball. Young people that participate in the Inner City Handball Association programs have a high graduation rate from high school and continue on to college. Inner City Handball teams are good athletes, good students, and good ambassadors for the sport of handball. We need your help to continue our work. Inner City Handball Association is a registered 501c3 tax-exempt charity. Please donate today. Thank you.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.